I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here. More National Racing Network action here, and we are coming to you from Richmond Raceway in Richmond, Virginia. It is the TNT Shock Series running their penultimate round of their championship. My name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth, as always, by the Bizzler, Mr. Patrick Byrne. And Bizzle, we were just kind of taking the over-unders on how many cars we would have left on the lead lap. You're saying a low number. I'm saying a fairly high-ish number. 13 cars on the entry list for tonight and a very tight championship battle. My gut says these guys are going to be exceptionally well-behaved around your championship contenders here tonight.
My gut says this is Richmond, and I'm going to pull out the old Larry Mack, all of my experience here at Richmond. There's going to be a lot of cars hitting that turn one wall, just losing the back end, sliding up, and smacking that turn one wall. So,
well, yeah, there is something to be said for this is not the easiest place to get around, especially when we factor in what the weather conditions look like here tonight. Talking about a 72-degree ambient temperature, 74-degree track temp. You're basically talking as much grip as these race cars are going to be able to generate in really good conditions at a place that they are now, according to the drivers anyway, just about flat out.
That is outrageous. This track should not be flat out in anything.
I don't know. I can see it in these cars, the USFs. It's one of those deals that you're making. We talked about towing that line between power and grip in the sprint car show just a couple of minutes ago. This is kind of right in that sweet spot where every bit of power that the car makes, you can get down onto the racing surface.
Yeah, I guess only having 275 horsepower helps.
That is correct. Taking a look, we have a pretty tight championship battle here heading into tonight's race. James Watson, your point leader, sitting on 233 markers. 6 points back is Wes Shire on 227. Brian Lamarge closing it very, very quickly over the last couple of races. He is 14 back in the third position. We're really looking at a 3-horse fight here with 2 races to go. I hate to bring up the bad karma, bad juju for James Watson last season, but we went into that race darn near tied. All Watson had to do was finish ahead of Wes Shire, and that could be anywhere, and he had issues lap 1, turn 1. Could we see something similar tonight that affects one of our championship contenders like that?
Absolutely. It is always a possibility where you just have bad luck one night, and it's the one night that needed to count. It's like Mark Martin. How many years was he so close to winning the championship? He should have 3 or 4 on the board now, but it was always either early in the season or late in the season where he could look back and just go, darn, if I didn't do that one thing in that one race, I could have had the championship.
Well, yeah, and actually, if you really want to get technical about it, Mark Martin did have a near championship season that involved a, we'll say, questionable points deduction by NASCAR. Now qualifications are underway. Let's pick up Brian Lamarge. And remember, James Watson, this is 2-lap qualifying. Turn both laps.
Speaking of Mark Martin, have you seen Mark Martin's interview on the Drake and Kendrick Lamar rap beef?
I have not, but knowing Mark Martin's thoughts on Drake, it has to be kind of comical.
It was fantastic. He was talking about why he loves rap, why he loves the rap beef. And Mark Martin, my entire life, has been the old guy that should have been getting ready to retire. I didn't realize he only just recently turned, like 60? He has never been that old. He has just looked like the old guy.
Yes, he's looked like the old guy that will absolutely beat the ever-living hell out of you, the way that man lives in the gym.
Yeah. When he was driving the Viagra car, when he first got that sponsorship, what was he, like 38?
Yeah, something like that. He was young to be sponsored by the Viagra manufacturers. As Andrew Berry goes to the top of the charts, Daniel Miglin with a good run. He's going to be second quick. Vic Aldrich on the raceway. Let's see if we can pick up the Dizzy V Designs, number 98. Thus far, Stephen C. Thompson, Wes Shire, and Kevin Smalley, the only cars that have not gotten onto the racetrack to take time. Both laps in the books for Vic Aldrich, and he will be fifth quick. Now let's pick up Jason Owens in the number 87. Simon Fell moving up into the top 5, 19.340, lap number 1 for Owens. The AJ Camargo also on the speedway at this time, as is James Watson and Stephen C. Thompson. Still 2.5 minutes remaining in the qualifying session. And Owens will finish up his run, and he will move to third quick. Have to remember to change over the comments section here so I can see what everybody is saying, checking in on the YouTube comments. Thank you all very much for joining us. We appreciate you coming to hang out and making the switch over to the TNT Shock Series with us. Lap number 1 for Watson, 19.325. Lap number 2 going to be 19.243. Watson moving up into the 6th position. Stephen C. Thompson making his qualification run. In fact, just finishing it up. And Thompson will slot into position number 9. 19.308 seconds. Now Wes Shire coming out onto the racetrack for his qualification run. In the Homestead Coffee Cannon Schaefer Oils, number 16, multi-time champion of the Shock Series. As a little bit of a change from the regular races that we're used to calling Bizzle, where everything is by lap count, this race is dictated by time. It's 50 minutes in length. What that means is that these drivers are going to have to kind of get themselves to the halfway point, and that's the fuel strategy game that you're playing. It's not a matter of tire conservation necessarily, because it seems like these tires are just bricks and get better the longer they go. Instead, what you have to deal with is, can you make the fuel last to the halfway point?
Yeah, and that shouldn't be a problem for these drivers. They've done it just about every week thus far. But Richmond being a super speedway for these cars, they're wide open most of the lap. There's no lift and coast to be done here.
Yeah, lift and coast is definitely not going to be a thing. In fact, a fair amount of packed up racing is what we can expect to see, as the checkered flag is out on the qualification session. That means it is time to go racing for 50 minutes here in the next to last round of the championship. 1 week from tonight, we will visit the artist formerly known as Gateway Worldwide Technology Raceway, where we will crown the Season 7 TNT Shock Series champion. Just waiting on a couple of cars to get gridded up here, but we can jump in and show you tonight's starting grid. Starting on the pole with a 2-lap average of 19.170 seconds, it is the number 81 of Andrew Berry. Starting on the outside will be the 555 of Daniel Miglin, only 15 thousandths of a second back in that 2-lap average. How about we still don't have a tenth of a second here? Back to row number 2. Inside, the Team Watson Racing Setups National Racing Network, number 59 in the AJ Camargo. And on the outside, the number 87 of Jason Owens. Brian Labarge in the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Team Watson Racing Setups, number 8. Alongside of James Watson in the National Racing Network, Team Watson Racing Setups, CAS Designs, number 39. Row number 4, the PPG Shell V-Power, number 3 of Jason Miller, alongside of the TNT Shock Series, number 256 of Simon Fell. 5th row of the grid tonight, the Homestead Coffee, Cannon Schaefer Oils, number 16 of West Shire, alongside of the Player 1, number 24 of Stephen C. Thompson. The Dizzy V Designs, Team Watson Racing Setups, number 98 of Vic Aldrich, inside of row number 6. And on the outside will be the 26 of Nagisa Yoshikawa, the Team Watson Racing Setups entry. Final row of the grid will have the 21 of Mike Long and the 47 of Kevin Smalley. Looks like Smalley will be a did not start here for the race this evening. So field paired up and rolling their way through turns 3 and 4. Pace cars in, and very quickly to the loud pedal goes Andrew Berry. Green flags in the air. We're underway here at Richmond. Lap number 1 on the board, it will belong to Berry. But Miglin having the look with the AJ Camargo down to the inside. Great start for Andrew Berry. Rest of the field very tight in formation here. Side by side, Brian Labarge and James Watson. It really is an interesting spot here for Watson to be in. He has this experience of having run a championship fight in the past that he did not come out on top from. Does he feel like the kind of driver that's going to take a lot from that and learn from it? Or is he the guy who kind of is just always going to sit there in the back of his head?
Hopefully it's not sitting in the back of his head. Hopefully he's able to just put it in the past and go out there and do the best he can tonight. Because if it's sitting there stirring in your head, that's not how you win championships.
I mean, that was always the biggest knock on Denny Hamlin and his inability to win a NASCAR Cup Series championship was just, it kind of seemed like it was all in his head.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin is one of the winningest drivers in the modern era. He is definitely championship caliber in terms of driving skill. It's just a little mistake halfway in the season will compound into a bigger mistake the next week, which will turn into another win and it'll look good again, and then it just compounds into more and more and more and more mistakes until you get to the final four and he's either not in it or taking himself out of the race before it even starts.
Well, we'll see how this battle shakes out tonight as Daniel Miglin getting around Andrew Berry in the battle for the race lead. I'm not sure how I missed that one, but These two duking it out here. And it's Brian Labarge, the AJ Camargo, Jason Owens. I mean, hell, the whole field's only within 2.5 seconds, but top 5 all really tight now into 3.
In the modern era of NASCAR, Denny Hamlin is the 12th winningest driver with 54 wins.
That does not surprise me. Actually, I thought he might even be a little bit higher up on the list. The dude's an absolute wheelman. He's just a head case.
Yeah, and that is 1972 to present. So that gets rid of 119 of Richard Petty's wins.
That is correct. And there is some discussion about what should define eras. That discussion is going on in the golf world as well. Tiger Woods and Sam Snead are tied for the most wins in PGA Tour history with 82. But Sam Snead has like 8 wins that were basically against nobody. And the discussion is, big slide there from Berry, really chopping the nose off of Miglin. But the discussion becomes, Richard Petty won a lot of races in an era when you ran 3 to 5 nights a week just to pay the bills. And they were all Cup Series races.
Yeah, 3 to 5 nights a week. And he was the only guy with factory backing. Everyone else was, hey, this is a junk old car I found on the side of the road. I just fixed her up a little bit. Still got DOT tires on it. I'm going to take it to the racetrack.
Oh, my goodness. That was nearly 4 wide entering turn number 3. Somehow they all got through it. And James Watson, Jason Owens still side by side in the battle for 5th. Miglin and Berry back to trading the lead at the front as well. These guys know we're not even 5 minutes into this race, right?
I mean, now's kind of time you want to settle down, just get in the line, turn some laps off. You've got to survive the whole race if you want to finish first.
Well, unless your plan is use up the tires, as Yoshikawa looks 3 wide, and I think he just went 2 for 1 on Miller and Owens. What a move. Oh, Owens falling back through the field now. He's back to the 10th position. Back there now battling with Westshire. Oh, caution is out, and it's Daniel Miglin from the front of the field. Miglin goes around. Take a look, see what happened here at the head of the line.
There is that
Miglin just slides. Oh, and Labarge makes contact.
What
Labarge.
A save, though.
Wow.
Miglin might be all right.
Yeah, I'm actually more worried about Brian Labarge at this point.
Hopefully Labarge just hit him straight and dead on, just hurt the nose, because the nose is a whole piece, whole assembly that can get swapped off and on in a matter of seconds.
Let's take a look at the replay here again. Go on board with Brian Labarge. It didn't sound like too heavy a contact, and it looks like the car is driving straight.
Yeah, it looks like he hit it square with the nose of the car, so he's going to pull in the pits, get that nose cone swapped, and should be all right.
Yeah, Daniel Miglin, Jason Owens, Brian Labarge, all on pit lane. Stephen C. Thompson out of this race. At least that's what we're seeing. Maybe a connection issue, possibly, because the gap to the leader on the timing tower is showing zeros. which can happen when a car drops connection. Labarge is on his way out of the pits after 11.3 seconds, 21.6 for Miglin. So let's reset the field for you. Andrew Berry has led 18 of the 21 completed laps here tonight. He is your race leader, followed by James Watson. He is up 4. A couple of hard charger nominees up here inside the top 5. AJ Camargo running where he started in 3rd. Nagisa Yoshikawa up 8 into the 4th position. Good run there for Nagisa thus far. Mike Long is up 6. James Watson is up 4 in the battle for the hard charger. And that does carry, I believe, 1 point with it as well. So Yoshikawa being up 8 doesn't help James Watson a ton, but Mike Long also having a good run here, up into the 7th position. Also of note, race control, normal race control, Ed McCullen not available tonight. That means everything is controlled by the iRacing computers as we go back to green flag racing. Some of the drivers are listed as admins, so they do have the ability to run the quickie yellow procedure at the end of the race, should that be necessary. But all the caution flags tonight will be called by iRacing. And Watson very quickly going to work on Berry here at the head of the field. This would go a long way to helping James Watson's championship hopes if he were able to secure the victory tonight. So a little bit differing pitch strategies here. Vic Aldrich, Jason Owens, Brian Labarge, Daniel Miglin, and Wes Shire all stopping under that last caution period. So your top 7 on the racetrack have not made a pit stop yet. That will make a difference in about 15 minutes or so when we're down to the 25-minute mark.
That number font, the number 59 of Naiji Camargo, is one of my favorite fonts here on iRacing.
From the list of things I didn't think we would be discussing tonight, fonts is up on the list.
I saw on his pit board, and now I'm seeing it again in timing and scoring. It just looks so good, especially with some of the older, like, 60s and 70s paint schemes you could run.
Yeah, it's definitely a classic type font. That is for sure. Of the sans serif variety. Although not many race cars use a serif font. Jeff Gordon's 24 comes to mind, being one.
Yes, that is another one of my favorites. That is actually the font I run, my number 27 usually.
Daniel Miglin back on pit lane, so unfortunately the damage may be too much here for Miglin. But the AJ Camargo, Nagisa Yoshikawa, that's who I'm trying to think of. Coming around Andrew Berry for second. Now trying to chase down James Watson. And now it feels like we've settled in. What really makes me wonder is the cars that are at the back of the pack. We'll pick West Shire here. He is basically puttering around towards the back of the pack, running in the tail of Brian Labarge. Is there any consideration that these drivers think they may be able to make it on fuel if they save enough?
I think there might be, because you can clearly see Wes's car is faster than Brian Labarge. This is not a matter of he missed the setup. This is not a matter of driver skill. You can see how quickly he's closing the gap. He gets close, and then he's checking up. He is definitely saving something. Whether it's tires or fuel, I couldn't tell you. But yeah, you see, slams on the brakes, opens the gap right back up. Now we put the camera on him, he's going to go for the pass.
Was interesting to listen to West Shire there, because it never got to the point of like, I'm really getting after this. It kind of got that mild hum to it.
Yeah, like he is not sending it as hard as he possibly can.
In fact, let's do this. Let's contrast that with Nagisa Yoshikawa. Well, Yoshikawa's not really getting there either. And looking at the 5-lap averages, West Shire is actually faster than the race leader.
Yes, I don't know if Wes just saw a number. I don't know what kind of calculators or crew chief or whatever he has running. But he might have just heard or saw a number that said, I'm not going to make it, time to push.
Slide back in the field a little bit here. Pick up the AJ Camargo and Simon Fell. These cars separated by only a tenth or so. Andrew Berry getting around Nagisa Yoshikawa. And now West Shire's going to have to contend with Brian Labarge. Seeing a very frustrated Jason Owens in the Discord chat.
I believe it was an incident, something to do with drivers going 3 wide into turn number 1.
that could possibly be it. 3 wide doesn't generally work here. But now that's going to leave us 10 cars on the racing surface, all of which are on the lead lap. Camargo and Miller battling for the 4th position, as at the front of the field the action is getting hot and heavy here with James Watson and Andrew Berry. Berry looking outside, looking inside, just has no way to get around that 39 machine. Time by Andrew Berry picking up the lap lead. It's going to put him to 23. But James Watson now sitting on 25 laps led. That also worth a bonus point. So now you're going to have to start thinking about when these drivers are going to come down pit lane, as we're down to 30 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this race. The 3 cars on the track that have made pit stops, LaBarge, Shire, and Aldrich, still running at the back of the pack. But they're still faster than the leaders. I just have to think that when you're talking to going 35, 38 minutes on a tank of fuel, that's a long way to go.
Yeah, I don't know if they can go the full 30. I don't think I've ever seen them go longer than 23 minutes or so on the tank of fuel.
This is giving me old Talladega vibes. I'd say old. That kind of maybe 5-6 years ago when they would just get lined up at the outside wall and just not go anywhere.
Yeah, just kind of sitting and waiting for something to happen until Bill Elliott comes around with the totally restricted car and unlaps himself after being 2 laps down.
Yeah, that's right.
That engine went through the engine shop I used to work at in Pottstown.
That doesn't surprise me.
I don't know if the statute of limitations is up, and I don't know if I can say if there was anything special about it or not, but it's a really interesting head to look at. I think I can say that much. We have it sitting up on the shelf in the diner room.
The AJ Camargo almost pushing up into the outside wall. I wonder if the call by Shire, LaBarge, and Aldrich to come down pit lane, especially Shire, may have been to take tires early, and now he's just going to sit there and just be patient on the tires, and then only have to do the splash of fuel with, 20 minutes or so to go. Talked about it a little bit during the sprint car race, but coming up this Friday night, Carb Night Chaos put on by the TNT Special Events Series. You can head on over to the TNT Discord. If you're interested, drop us a note in the comments. We will get you the info for it. But Friday night, Carb Night Chaos, these PM18s, the USF 2000s, the sprint cars, and the Silver Crowns, all on IRP at the same time. So the real world show that you would go see on Carb Night with all 4 divisions, we're just going to do it as one kind of very quick 50-minute race. I'm really looking forward to that. The PM18s, I think, will be the fastest car on the track, but the Crowns might be. And the sprint cars of the USF 2000s make almost the exact same time as Nagisa Yoshikawa dives down onto pit lane.
Yeah, looking at the lap records at IRP, the PM18 is a good deal faster than the Silver Crown. That being said, we do have the Speedway Silver Crown in iRacing, not the short track Silver Crown, which I think will hurt it just a little bit. So I think the PM18 is easily going to be the fastest car on track.
And Yoshikawa stopped upwards of 16 seconds. Long pit stop for Nagisa Yoshikawa. That's going to absolutely take him out of contention.
Oh, wondering if there was a penalty or something. Too fast entering, maybe unsafe pit entry.
And look who now runs in the 4th position. Wes Shire, the Homestead Coffee number 16. 5-lap average, a full 10th better than both your race leader and second place James Watson. Wonder now if you hit the point where Wes said, I know I can't make it, so we might as well get to the front. And it looks like it was a pit road speeding penalty for Nagisa Yoshikawa. Shire goes 3 wide into 3.
Almost trying to get the 2-for-1 special. Barry says, nah, the sails
he's in the wall!
Shire's in the wall.
Oh, Wes Shire spins off at turn number 4. That is catastrophic to his championship hopes. Go on board. Nice crossover move. Car got a little bit of push, tries to correct, and just nothing he could do. Wow. Some great avoidance driving there as well.
Yeah, Smiley-esque crash. Unfortunately, takes the blue light special and flips the lights off.
Yeah. And now that's going to put everybody down pit road, and they can all make it from here as we are inside of 25 minutes remaining. Take one more look at it here from outside the race car.
Blue light's flashing. He sees the special, goes underneath, tries to get the 2-for-1, and unfortunately Barry just takes the air in the exit off, and just a slight overcorrection. If he didn't go to correct that car, it would have either straightened itself out or he would have spun into the infield grass and still be racing.
Well, unless he got collected by somebody. But off of pit lane, James Watson will be your race leader. 31.3 seconds on pit lane for James Watson, 31.8 for Andrew Berry. A half second was all it took to put James Watson back to the head of the field. And now we're going to be down to just 9 cars remaining in this race and 22 minutes left to go. Let's see if we can't get a quick word in here with James Watson, our race leader. And James, obviously the championship hopes possibly helped a little bit here with the incident for West Shire, but the pit crew doing a great job getting you out front. What are your thoughts here as we run down to the last 21 and a half minutes?
When the other shoe's gonna drop?
Oh, no, get that negative stuff out of your head.
I can't. It usually happens. It's pessimism by principle. It's the worst thing ever.
Well, okay.
Look, I'm just trying to get whatever I can from this. It's looking good now. Who knows if it stays this way, but I'm just going to get what I can, and whatever happens, happens. I'm just really trying to go out there with a who the hell cares what happens mindset that I never have.
Well, good luck the rest of the way here, bud. We're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. There's James Watson.
It sounds like he's got his head in the right place, moving in the right direction, putting any past mistakes behind him. Who the hell cares? Whatever happens, happens. At the end of the day, it's a video game. That's the way you have to approach it if you want to win these championships.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you want to take seriously, but not too seriously. I guess too much try hard. Which is what, like, rule number 1 of Carb Night Chaos and the Vintage Indy coming up on Saturday night. My favorite iRacing event of the year. 5 generations, sort of IndyCar on the racetrack at the same time around the world's greatest race course.
You know, we've been rained out 3 weeks in a row now at Goods, and it's looking like rain again. So I don't know if I should hope for Vintage Indy to go live, and then we'll get a nice sunshiny day at the racetrack and I can actually go racing, or if it rains out and I get to play video games. Regardless, it's going to be a great Saturday night.
Yes, that is correct. The DW12, named in honor of Dan Weldon, basically the modern IndyCar without the aero screen and with the bolt-on Kardashian ass pieces. That's the fastest and most modern of the IndyCars will run. Follow it up with the IR05 Crap Wagon, as coined by Paul Tracy.
The DW12 is not the fastest car we run.
It's not?
No. This year, the IR01 has the Speedway package on it and will hit nearly 260 miles an hour down the straightaway.
Yeah, but we're not running the IR01.
Yes, we are.
We are?
The IR01 is our 90s champ car. We've always run the IR01.
No, we didn't. We ran 5 classes. The DW12, the Crap Wagon, Lotus 79, Lotus 49, and Sprint Car.
No, you're missing the 90s era. We've always run the IR01, and it's always been slower than both of the modern era Indy cars because it's had the road course wings on it. This year, it has the Speedway wings on it.
Yes, and it is mind-bending how fast that car is. In fact, 260 mile an hour quarter entry speeds to turn 1, and it's going to be, what, $180, 185 for the Lotus 49 and the Sprint Car?
The Sprint Car takes the turns at like 170, 160. The 49 takes the turns at about 110, 120.
But I mean the quarter entry speed.
Oh,
It's almost 140 mile an hour closing difference in speed.
The IRO1 too, what's going to be really fun about that car is it's going to be the only wing car on track that will have to lift for the corners.
That is correct. And it kind of wants to run the Indy line. Wide entry, down to the apex, back to the outside. If you're having to pass lap cars, you are going to have to really slow down for the corners.
It is reminiscent of the last era of IndyCar racing where the drivers had to actually drive the cars in addition to just the craziness that is Indy. The modern cars, you're racing the track still a bit, but it's mostly you're racing the other cars. I'd say from 95 back, you were racing the track as much, if not more, than the other cars on track.
That was something that Rick Mears talked about, and still to this day talks about. The cars have to go so fast that you need to lift for turn one. Either handle poorly, which is going to be unsafe, or be so fast that you just have to lift. That's what will make for great natural racing again at Indy.
Yeah, because then you can really pass cars in the braking zone for the corners. You can out-nut somebody. You can out-drive somebody into the corner. Just play chicken with them.
And the qualifying setups that they would run, the cars were generating lift.
They still do.
Which is just ridiculous. They're going faster than a Cessna at takeoff.
They're going faster than a 747 at takeoff.
And yet the car doesn't take off. I don't understand it.
I believe V2 for a 747, which is the speed that they pull back on the sticks and pull the nose of the plane up. It's about 220 miles an hour for a 747, which is mind-bogglingly fast, and it's insane they're able to get that giant bird into the air. An IndyCar enters turn one at between 238 and 242 miles an hour.
Yeah, Scott Dixon leading the speed charts today in an abbreviated practice session number one for the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500. Over 229 miles per hour on day one. Mark Miles, if you're listening, give them more boost on qualifying day. Just the Fast 9 cars. Let them turn the wick up even a little bit more than everybody else. Once they've locked into that Fast 9, really nut up and ball out.
I was seeing IndyCar, even at the Speedway, only maxes those turbos out at maybe 22 PSI. I have one of those turbos sitting on my dining room table. I have the spec sheet for it. They can run 42.5 PSI of boost. Double the boost. I want to see conrods going out the sides of the block. I want to see 300 miles an hour at the Speedway.
I don't even want to see that. I just want Dave Calabro to have a chance to say it's a new track record once before he retires. That man has been around the Speedway forever. Tom Carnegie did it for decades. And since Arie Luyendyk in 1997, nobody has gone faster at the Speedway. Man, Labarge trying to make things racy here. Through 3 and 4. Camargo getting a wheel up to his outside as Watson and Berry continue their duel. You have to wonder, are they going to could they push too hard that the tires start to go off? They've only got 26 laps on them. But the 5-lap average, the 5-lap average, even the 10 and 50 lap averages are well off. As caution is out, yellow flag is out, and it looks like it might be trouble for Jason Miller and the AJ Camargo. Camargo running up inside the top 5. Miller looks inside a little bit. Slightest bit of a touch, but it was, well, I saw the wing come off of Miller's car.
Yeah, the netcode gods just blessed Jason Miller.
Yes, they did. Unfortunately, for AJ Camargo, he has to come down pit lane. Interesting. Andrew Berry stopping as well with 12 minutes left. I like the call here. Put a fresh set of Cooper tires on and go ballistic. Let's see if we can get a quick word in here with Andrew Berry. Interesting call with about 12 minutes left. Stop, take tires. You're going to be restarting at about 5th or 6th. Is that the thought process? Put some new sneakers on and know you're going to be close to the front anyway?
Yeah, you know, there's not much to lose. I figured I can't. Doesn't hurt. James was pretty quick, so I was trying to race him hard and make him burn off his tires, but he got by me, so I flew a little close to the sun there, so figured I'd mix it up and make things exciting.
Well, is there any concern that you won't be able to get the tires fully up to temperature and have enough time to pass James? Because it does take these things a little bit to really come up to the good in the temperature range.
Not really. I felt like I'm pretty quick right off the bat so far tonight, so I might not be able to pass Simon in a lap or two, but I think it should come up to speed pretty quickly.
All right, Andrew. Well, good luck the rest of the way. Thank you very much for checking in with us here with 10 and a half minutes left to go in tonight's TNT Shock Series race from Richmond Raceway. And with the lights still on the iRacing safety car, it is 52-second laps behind the pace car. This just eats into that time that Berry is going to have to make a run to the front.
Yeah, and that's really, really hard as a driver when you're in one of these timed races and you're under caution, because you can see the time counting down. I only have 9.5 minutes to go and take the lead. It's not like you go, okay, I have 20 laps, plenty of time. Okay, I have 15 laps, I'm almost there. 10 laps, okay, I'm there, I gotta make the pass. No, you have a literal stopwatch counting down that says, hey, this is how much time you have to get it done.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at about 8 minutes and 40 seconds by the time we go back to green flag racing. And with 20-second laps, 8 times 3 is 24. You're about 25 laps to go. JRT is telling me 30 and a half laps remaining is what we're looking at based on average speed. Interesting to note, James Watson has deafened his microphone and muted the Discord chat. He is in full concentration mode as we go back to green flag racing. Taking a look overhead from the NRN drone, Brian Labarge, Jason Miller battling for second. And to Andrew Berry's point, he fell off the back of Simon Fell. Currently about a half second back of that car with 8.5 minutes to go. The 4 cars ahead of him did not stop under the caution flag. Everybody else did. That is on the racetrack right now. Up through 9th place, Nagisa Yoshikawa, who is still on the lead lap. The AJ Camargo, Mike Long battling for 7th. Camargo able to easily clear that pass. Watson gonna have to contend with Brian Labarge, and this now may be your championship battle. Labarge was only 14 points back entering tonight's race. If they hold position, he will leapfrog West Shire. But the points are fairly front-loaded, so the gap will increase by, I think, 10 points or so, potentially, for Watson over LaBarge. Oh, Nagicio Shikawa takes away the fastest lap bonus. He's 1 lap down in the 9th position.
Yeah, that's about Yoshikawa's only focus right now. Is there's no way, unless there's a huge wreck now, that he's going to pass any more cars. Salvage it as much as possible and make sure you take the fastest lap.
I think you have to be on the lead lap to get that bonus, don't you?
I don't think there's that stipulation.
Okay. Oh, LaBarge thought about the move inside of Watson into 3. Nothing going that time, and Watson taking a little bit of the defensive line down the front stretch and into turn number 1. Really putting LaBarge in a position where he's going to have to push things and do it on the outside.
He's there, though, and he has the run coming across the line. That time it's barely Watson.
Watson by thousands. He picks up the lap lead to get him to 49. He could potentially take back the bonus point for most laps led here. Berry has 62. Watson now with 50.
After a photo finish filled beginning of the month. I think we might be able to get to see one on the iRacing side here with this race. These guys keep going side by side like this.
Yeah, it's going to be a good-looking one. And to steal your thunder on it, opposite of Talladega, the start-finish line is kind of at the exit of turn 4. It's not in the middle of the D on the front straightaway.
Now, looked like a huge slide for Brian LaBarge there. That car definitely a little tricky to drive here in clean air. Definitely has it set up to run behind another car. As you see Watson very quickly closing the gap. Has to back off, though. Watson's car definitely set up to lead. It's not doing all that great in the dirty air.
Now that discussion that we just had about Brian LaBarge losing a fair amount because of how big the spread is at the front of the field, now he could be within just a couple of points of James Watson if he's able to hold on to the race win. The gap up to 3/10 and growing for Brian LaBarge over James Watson. Slide back, pick up Andrew Berry and Simon Fell. Both of those cars able to get around the AJ Camargo. So now Berry back up into a podium position. His last lap, 19.266. To Brian LaBarge's 186 and a 110 for James Watson. The gap right now is sitting at 1.4 seconds between LaBarge at the front and Andrew Berry in third. And with only 3 minutes and about 10 laps to go, you have to think Berry may run out of time before he can catch up. Unless we get a yellow.
I think we're approaching the point now, even with a quickie yellow, this race would be over.
Watson having the peak inside of LaBarge, getting some clean air on the front wing. LaBarge having to run that middle line. Very reminiscent of what we saw out of Watson earlier. And James just not able to make up any ground. It looks like he's gaining through the corner, but Labarge keeping up the momentum. I just have to wonder, is Watson possibly saving some tire here to have a go at him very, very late in this race? Almost like if you pass him now, it's too soon.
Yeah, if you pass him now, he has enough time to get a move set up and pass you right back. At the same token, though, if you wait to pass him, the opportunity might not arise again.
Well, it'll be right about 5 laps to go, this time by Brian Labarge, holding a 1/4 of a second lead over James Watson. And we're at the point of the year where we can go full Rick Allen and say championship implications. Oh, and Watson with a big slide off at turn 4 that time. He's fallen back to about 4/10 back. Inside of 60 seconds to go. Looks like it's going to be 3 laps remaining. We'll see, based on how much time is left when they come back around to the start-finish line.
Part of me just wants to hop down into their chat and let them know, I wish them luck, we're all counting on you.
Oh, that's awesome. 20 seconds remaining as they're down the back straightaway, so we will have 1 more lap to go. Off at turn number 4, white flag is in the air for Brian Labarge, and the lead is 1/2 second. Entering turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Twin checkers go in the air, and Brian Labarge wins at Richmond. James Watson coming home second. Andrew Berry will round out the podium by 55 thousandths over Simon Fell. But Brian Labarge picks up the race win here tonight. Oh, he's going to drive through their nice, clean grass. Oh, I thought he beached the car trying to do donuts.
No, but you can see just how open of a differential he's running. These things have adjustable limited slip differentials. And you can see it is spinning that left rear very, very quickly, and the right rear seems to be stuck in the mud. That is going to make this car very loose and difficult to drive here around this track. And the fact that he did it, that's what made that car fast, and that's what put him on the top spot.
Well, let's take a look at your race results here this evening. For the TNT Shock Series, Brian Labarge by 1/2 second over James Watson. Andrew Berry completes the podium. Simon Fell and the AJ Camargo back through your top 5. Vic Aldrich and Mike Long, the final 2 cars on the lead lap. Nagisa Yoshikawa finishing 1 lap down in the 8th position. Jason Miller going out 18 laps behind the race leader, followed by Wes Shire in the 10th position. The rest of the field, Daniel Miglin, Jason Owens, Stephen C. Thompson, and Kevin Smalley, who did not start here this evening. Let's get ready for some victory lane interviews, and we'll bring in our race winner tonight, Mr. Brian Labarge. And I was really impressed with that car late in the run, Brian. It seemed like it came alive, and once you were able to get out in front of James, then you were really able to open up the gap.
Actually, I was more nervous being in front than I was behind people. It never felt comfortable in clean air. It just felt very loose, which, what did I qualify? 5th, something like that. I figured I was going to be in the pack for for most of that, so I kind of set it up to drive that way. And then once I got out in front, it was nervous. Especially in 2, you're just making sure that you've got everything squared away right there, that was the turn I was kind of concerned the most about. But that was literally some of the most insane like wheel-to-wheel driving that I've done in this series. And hats off to James for being on point. I never had to worry about what's he going to do with it. It just, everything about it was clean and wonderful, and I loved every minute of it, despite the fact that I'm just completely wired right now.
It seemed like James was having a similar issue, and then when he was trying to chase you down late in the race, the handling wasn't there either. Was there any thought to kind of pulling the same strategy that Andrew Berry did and making the pit stop when we had that caution with 15 or 12 minutes to go, whatever it was?
Honestly, I thought that he was, because when I saw he pulled into the pits, I'm like, how many? I hadn't looked to see how many cars were still left in the lead lap, and I saw that he's going to come out in 5th, and I thought I was done. And I'm like, well, I've already committed to it. I might also just stick it out and go with it. But and then I think after the first lap, that James and I had, what was it, a second and a half, back to 3rd place. I'm like, all right, that's insurmountable, I think, at that point, even if he gets around those cars. So I was like, okay, we're good now. I can just focus on driving against James and going from there and seeing what happens.
Well, that same focus will be happening 1 week from tonight when we head off to Gateway for the season finale. As the iRacing software is showing it to me right now, you are 7 points back of James Watson for the championship. Does that change your approach to that race, or is it still just kind of, I have to go out and win?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet. I'm probably just going to go through and just drive and see what happens. I think if I overthink things, then I don't want to think myself into something wrong. So I think I'm just going to just go out there and drive and just let the chips fall where they may.
All right, Brian. Well, congratulations on the dub here tonight. A big one this season, getting your third win of the season. And before we let you go, get all those sponsor plugs and shout outs in for us.
All right. First up, I got to thank Team Watson Racing Setups for being just a fantastic community for those needing setups. Absolutely go check them out. NASA, JPL, thank all the drivers for participating today. Let's get some more people out there and joining the Shock Series. I cannot say enough about all the good things that this series offers. So if you're a driver out there and you're watching, please come join. This is absolutely awesome stuff.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. Congratulations once again on a very, very good win. Now it's time to bring up our runner-up finisher tonight, James Watson. And James, your car looked really good until you got behind Brian late in the race. Were you just set up to be out front and the car just did not want to play nicely on 60-lap old tires?
No, I was perfectly fine back there. I almost had him, but he was just able to pull around the outside, and then I don't know.
Well, now we're going to head off and we're going to look ahead to Gateway, a similar position that you were in one season ago. What, other than the obvious, what do you do differently in the lead up to that race at Gateway to give yourself a shot at the championship? Because right now it's a 7-point lead that you have over Brian.
I don't think there's anything I can do differently at this point. I've tried so many different things and everything just plays out the same.
Well, I'll say this. Go ahead, Bizzle.
You're going into it leading. So as long as you finish ahead of him, you're good. So basically, as long as he doesn't win, the odds are in your favor.
I went in leading last season.
No defeatist stuff out of you, Watson. I'm not going to stand for it. We're
This
going.
is this season. That was last season.
That's exactly right. This is another chance, and quite frankly, Will Power got his championship and he got his Indy 500, and you will respect him now. Blanks, blanks, blanks. I'm thinking that's what we may see 1 week from tonight. James, I will say this. You are a little bit understated tonight, and I think that bodes good things. That the head is in the right place. Congratulations on the runner-up finish tonight here, and do all those sponsor plugs and shout-outs for us before we let you out of here.
Yeah, I gotta thank everyone at Team Watson Racing Setups. Use code WATSBIN39 for 10% off at checkout. NRN, Boomer Butt Boxes, Martin Sports Sim Racing Apparel, and my folks for watching at home. And it's been also been a rough time for my family and for my dad specifically. So I did what I could for you tonight, Pops.
Well, James, you and your family are definitely in our thoughts here, brother. And if you need anything, you let us know. Don't hesitate to reach out, please. You're definitely one of our buddies, and a pleasure to have in the booth with us and get to watch racing these things, too. James, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And now we got to talk to our third-place finisher, Mr. Andrew Berry. And ultimately, it seemed like maybe one of those deals that, kind of like we talked about in the interview, just not enough time to get caught up to those guys once we went back to green.
Yeah, I think I just made a mistake by pitting. I don't think I think I was quick out front, and then when I lost the draft, I think they were on lower downforce than I was, so it's just like pulling a parachute behind me. So yeah, it is what it is.
When you set the car up for a race like this, you're kind of in that boat of you have to run little enough downforce to be fast by yourself at the front, but enough downforce to be competitive and safe in the pack. How fine of a line are you walking when you're doing that setup?
Lately, I'm not really walking a fine line. I'm just taking something that feels right and running with it. And it was good for the most of the race, but it wasn't enough for me, I guess.
Well, still a good run for you, putting that car up in the third position here tonight. Andrew, congratulations on another podium, and do all those sponsor plugs and shout-outs for us before we let you out of here.
Yep, yeah, it was a fun race. Thanks for everyone that hosts it and puts it together. It's always a fun time.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us up here in the booth for a minute. And Bizzle, as we get ready to wrap this night of broadcast mediocrity up, really an interesting show, I will say, because we had a little bit of early strategy from some of these guys and almost unexplainable unforced error from Wes Shire. And then a duel down to the end between Brian Labarge and James Watson that now is going to continue for a whole nother week.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pull out my old spreadsheet to get points tallied up as we go live on the air. I mean, I can't believe we're going into it with, only an 8-point difference between these two guys?
Yeah, I think it's showing 7 as of right now, but I don't know that all the bonus points and stuff were factored in. It is going to be a very, very tight battle here between Brian Labarge and James Watson. For that matter, Wes Shire is, I would say, he's not mathematically out of the championship, but for all intents and purposes, he's out of the championship, sitting 28 points back, or 29 points back, of James Watson. It would take a lot for Watson and Labarge to not be fighting for the championship, but we saw crazy things happen last season.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a lap 1, turn 1 incident that takes Labarge and Watson out of the race, and all West would have to do at that point is just win the thing, get the fastest lap, and lead the most laps, and it'd be easily his.
Yeah, just do it all, do everything. That's fantastic. It's one way to look at it, and, well, I will say this. It was a good show here tonight. Good night of racing out of both the sprint cars and the TNT Shock Series. Thank you to all the drivers that came out and participated here tonight. One more race coming up this week, and it will be right here it'll be back to Indianapolis Raceway Park. Thursday night, it's Oval Week for the USF Pro Championships. They will run Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. You don't want to miss that one. And then next week, leading in to the greatest spectacle in racing, the iRacing Silver Crown Cup will run at the world's greatest race course, 9:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time Monday night. Follow that up with the sprints at Concord. It is Coke 600 week, so making a visit to Concord, not a bad call. And then the USF cars head off to VIR for round number 11 of their championship. But looking forward to a great week of racing action. Enjoy your Wednesday night off the NRN airwaves, everybody. We'll be back here Thursday night. Until then, for James Watson, Patrick Byrne, everybody that helps us get these shows on the air, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.